When a male African savanna elephant folds his ears while simultaneously waving them, he's ready for a fight. When a female folds her ears and accompanies the action with an ear flap, that means she's also issuing a serious threat. But when elephants come together and fold their ears, the animals are expressing a warm greeting. Pronunciation is the way in which a word for a language is spoken. This may refer to generally agreed upon sequences of sounds used in speaking a given word or language in a specific dialect, correct pronunciation, or simply the way a particular individual speaks a word or language. In medicine, the application of information technology means the digitalization of medical records and the establishment of an intelligent network for sharing those records. Other benefits flow from these technological changes. In the past, medicine has taken the paternalistic stance, with the all-knowing physician dispensing wisdom, but that is becoming increasingly untenable. New research shows that during the global financial crisis, workers who stayed in the jobs did not reduce their working hours, despite claims that cuts in hours have to prevent job losses. The study found that life of people who remained same employers stayed relatively unchanged. The ice house structures, of which 4 still remain intact, are located south of Salton Column. These large, conically domed earthen structures would have had sheets of ice built up on the ground level over the course of the winter to provide year-round ice supplies. The findings of modern research support the view that the evolution of primitive men and its culture should be regarded as unity. Yet this unity is exceedingly complex, and future research will doubtless enable us to make finer distinctions between the periods that people composed it. The Better Government Plan is based on the assumption that government has a positive role to play in improving people's lives but could perform this function far more effectively than it does now. What distinguishes the Better Government Plan from the other two is that instead of changing the size of government, smoke from Australia's Black Summer bushfires of 2019 to 2020, which burnt through 18 million hectares of land, produced a phytoplankton bloom larger than the entire country of Australia located in the Southern Ocean. When a major disaster strikes, the first people on the scene are often local organizations, residents and volunteers. They are often faced with the retrieval and immediate management of dead bodies before forensic experts can arrive. Another virtue that both propagate is that the present is meant to be enjoyed to the fullest. It is no use fretting about the past, for it cannot be undone or overturned, and no use pondering too much about the future, for it remains unseen. The day being thought about may never dawn on you. The advantage of the great European and American orchestras is that they were able to establish their iconic status in an age when their identity could become entrenched. There was less competition and it was easier to create a brand. Not only did they have the best halls, They attracted the best musicians, who tended to stay put. The stratosphere is the next layer up from Earth's surface. Temperatures in the stratosphere increase with altitude. A high concentration of ozone, a molecule composed of 3 atoms of oxygen, makes up the ozone layer of the stratosphere. This ozone absorbs some of the incoming solar radiation. It was found that while many companies express interest in Jacobson's use case approach, actual scenario usage often falls outside what is described in textbooks and standard methodologies. Users therefore face significant scenario management problems not yet addressed adequately in theory or practice. Current research models indicate that climate change associated with increasing levels of greenhouse gases is likely to lead to the soils in the interiors of the major continents drying out. In response to a drying of cropland, people are likely to seek either new sources of irrigation water or new, wetter areas to farm. Relish the fall colors while you can. Scientists think that the rich reds, oranges and yellows of fall may be one of the many casualties of global warming. Leaves change color in part because of cues taken from dropping temperatures. As temperatures remain warmer through fall and winter nights, they could delay the beloved fall color shift. Interdisciplinarity refers to a method that merges traditional educational concepts in order to arrive at new approaches. It is an increasingly important concept within both academic research and the private sector. More than just pasting together different subjects, interdisciplinary work is the process of developing integration of methods that are traditionally thought of as separate fields. The grid-based infrastructure enables large-scale scientific applications to be run on distributed resources. However, in practice, grid resources are not very easy to use for the end users who have to learn how to generate security credentials. There is an imminent need to provide transparent access to these resources so that the end users are shielded from the complicated details. Relatively soon, some prominent astrobiologists say, we will most likely have either found compelling evidence for extraterrestrial life or banished its possible existence to the ever-shrinking edges of the cosmos beyond the rapidly expanding reach of our observations. Such answers could come by the end of this century from any of a number of initiatives ardently seeking alien life. The idea of self-disseminating vaccines has floated through epidemiological circles for decades, conceived mainly as a tool for protecting the health of wildlife. But evolutionary biologists have refreshed the proposal with evidence from their own modeling and other experimental work, which suggests that self-disseminating vaccines could be a safe and practical way to head off zoonotic pandemics as well. The smoking ban is a public policy that includes criminal laws and health regulations that prohibit smoking in certain public places and workspaces. There are varying definitions of smoking employed in this legislation. The strictest definitions define smoking as being the inhalation of any tobacco substance, while the loosest define smoking as possessing any lit tobacco product.